Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to talk about something you use every single day, but probably don't think about much. The very foundation of the internet. We're talking about the addressing system that makes everything possible.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The internet running out of room? How is that even possible? But believe it or not, this is a real problem engineers have been working on for years. The entire digital world we live in was built on a system that's pretty much maxed out. So at the core of all this is something called the Internet Protocol, or just IP. The easiest way to think about an IP address is like a street address for your house or a phone number for your phone. But this is for your laptop, your smart TV, literally any device that gets online. It's what tells data exactly where to go.
Okay, so to really get why this is a crisis, we got to go back in time a bit and look at the original system that got the internet off the ground.
Right. So the internet was basically built on this thing called IPv4. And look, it's been the workhorse for decades. It's built the web we know and love. But here's the catch. It was designed way back in the day, long before anyone dreamed we'd all have a supercomputer in our pockets and a smartwatch on our wrist.
And the whole problem really, it boils down to this one number. The architecture of IPv4 allows for a total of about 4.3 billion unique addresses. Now back in the 80s, that seemed like a ridiculously huge number. Infinite, even. But today, yeah, 4.3 billion is just not going to cut it. It's not even close. Think about it. Smartphones, laptops, tablets, smart everything. We've basically burned through all of them. The house is full, we've run out of room. And it's not just about running out of addresses. That's the main headline for sure. But IPv4 has other issues too. It wasn't really built with modern security in mind, setting it up can be a pain, and it's not great at prioritizing data. That's what quality of service is. It's the thing that keeps your video calls from lagging or your online games from stuttering. IPv4 kind of struggles with that.
All right, so the old system is basically bursting at the seams. The internet needed a serious upgrade, one designed for the world we live in now and for the future.
And that's where IPv6 comes in. This is the new kid on the block, the modern solution. It was built from the ground up to fix not just the address crisis, but all those other little problems too. It's all about future-proofing the internet.
So just how big of an upgrade are we talking about here? Well, remember that 4.3 billion number for IPv4? IPv6 gives us, wait for it, 340 undecillion. That's a 340 with 36 zeros after it. I mean, that number is so big it practically breaks your brain trying to think about it. Let me put it this way. We are never, ever going to run out of IPv6 addresses. There are enough addresses to give a unique IP to every single grain of sand on every beach on Earth and still have plenty left over. It is, for all intents and purposes, a permanent fix.
So let's look at a side-by-side comparison here. The biggest, most obvious change is that jump from a 32-bit to a 128-bit address. That's where that insane number comes from. But it's more than that. The header size is fixed, which makes routing data more efficient. Think of it like all the mail suddenly being in a standard-size envelope. The sorting machines can just fly through it. It also changes how data is sent. It moves from a broadcast method, which is like shouting to everyone in a room, to more efficient methods called multicast and anycast. All these things add up to a faster, smarter internet. But let's zoom in on a couple of changes that you'll really feel.
First up, just making things easier. With the old IPv4, getting a device online could be a hassle. You might need manual setup or a special server to hand out addresses. But IPv6, it has auto-configuration built right in. That means your devices can just hop on the network and basically assign themselves an address. So much simpler.
And this is a big one. Security. With IPv4, security was kind of an add-on, something you had to bolt on top. IPv6 was designed from day one with security at its core. It has something called IPsec built right in, which means end-to-end encryption and authentication are just part of the package. It makes your connection fundamentally more secure.
Okay, so it's pretty clear, right? IPv6 is the future. But that leads to a massive question. How in the world do you switch the entire planet from an old system to a new one without, well, breaking the internet?
Seriously, think about it. You've got decades of hardware, software, and infrastructure all built to speak IPv4. You can't just flip a switch one night and say, okay, everyone, we're on IPv6 now.
Nope, you can't just flip a switch. The only way to do it is gradually. For a long, long time, both IPv4 and IPv6 have to live side by side and work together. And to pull that off, network engineers have some pretty clever tricks up their sleeves.
There are basically three main strategies to make this happen. First, you've got dual stacking. This is like teaching your devices to be bilingual. They can speak both IPv4 and IPv6 fluently. Then there's tunneling. This is clever. It's like putting an IPv6 package inside an IPv4 envelope so it can travel through the old mail system. And finally, translation, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a universal translator that lets an IPv4 device talk to an IPv6 device without any issues.
Okay, so we've gone through the what and the how of all this techie stuff. But let's wrap up with the most important question. Why should you care? What does this all actually mean for you?
And this right here is the payoff. This is what it all means in the real world. Because IPv6 is more efficient, you get better quality of service. That means smoother video streaming and clearer audio calls. Because it has built-in security, your connections are just safer, period. Browsing on your phone is faster and more secure. But the biggest thing? It's the foundation for the true Internet of Things, where every light bulb, sensor, and appliance can have its own unique address.
So you see, this whole IPv6 transition, it isn't just some boring technical update. It's about fundamentally expanding what the internet can be. It's unlocking a future where connectivity is everywhere, which leaves us with one really cool question to think about. When we have a limitless supply of addresses, what are we going to connect to the internet next?